Hello, uh, welcome to my yet another PowerPoint presentation video. Mm, it's my seventh, I think, seventh. In this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate DUI Drive propelling a four-wheel cart. Okay, let's begin the presentation. Demonstration of DUI Drive, reactionless drive propelling a four-wheel cart. Now DUI Drive system is fixedly attached to a four-wheel Lego cart, and it's very efficient one. The rotors are cut into arc of a circle with the same radius to reduce the weight of the rotor, and they are at the original position. Let's see this one. Let's play this video. Here they are cut into arc so that only the used part is used, but the radius of this arc is considered and exactly pasted over here, so that the radius of the arc is as similar to the point. It's similar to the radius of the real circle from which the arc is cut down. Here are two solenoids that are going to be in action, and these two solenoids on the side are just to balance the mass. These two solenoids are heavier than this, so they are placed closer to the center, managing the center of gravity. Here you can see it's fixed. The cart is fixed with this wood stick, and then it is, and with the help of rubber band and threads, it's connected with the system rotors. Okay, let's move to the next slide. The cart attached with DUI Drive propulsion system is ready for action now. Here the rotor is cut and only the used part is used to reduce the mass for better performance, that you can see in the previous video. Okay, let's see each stroke individually, and then later on we'll give continuous stroke. Let's see in action. Let's see the action. Okay, let's play the video. Okay, this is the start point. Do you see the thrust? Few mm. In first stroke it traveled few mm. In second stroke also it traveled few mm, just few mm. The solenoids are very less powerful to drive. If we use bigger solenoid, the mass will be very huge, so I have tried to use the lightest material as possible. And this is the original position. I want to mention that this is the original position. When the solenoids are switched off, both the rotors reach to a point, and that is called original position, and I have used this original position term many times in this presentation. Okay, let's you can if you want to see it, you can replay it and see it. There's a pure reactionless drive of the rotors, although it is only few cm, but it is reactionless. Let's go to the next slide. When both solenoids are switched on simultaneously with the same switch, the force needed for forward propulsion is generated in the system, and the whole cart moves forward without any reaction force. The solenoid is small and not so powerful, but generate force for the cart move few millimeters in every stroke. In every 3 stroke, the cart moves few millimeters, most probably 3 millimeters, and the thrust is purely reactionless in nature and do not have any deflection in the end of the cycle. Yes, it's visible, you can see the video. Now let's see with multiple stroke. Let's switch on and off both the solenoids simultaneously with the same switch and generate a continuous thrust and drive the cart forward. The system is attached with the rubber bands to regain its original or initial position for the next cycle to happen. Okay, now let's play this video. Here the rubber band is placed. It's not visible here, but the rubber band is tied with this wooden stick and this ruler. This ruler is part of uh, rotor, and this wooden stick is part of cart, and they both are tied up here and here so that the rotors regain its original position after the solenoid is switched off. Okay, let's see the action. Okay, in every stroke few of distance is covered in every stroke. I'm switching off and on the solenoids manually, so if we do it with automation the result will be different, but this is only for the demonstration purpose. And the center of gravity and the center of rotation is not exactly, although I tried to make it exact at the same point, but it's not exact at the same point, but I have tried somehow to see some result. So some deflection is measured, backward direction movement is measured in slow cycles. Okay, it's 5 mm is 5 centimeter is covered. Now it's almost, I think it's more than 7 centimeter, and around 8 centimeter has been distance has been covered. Okay, let's move to the next slide and analyze this video. The cart has traveled a distance of around 80 millimeters in around 80 seconds. Let's analyze the movement of the cart in details. It's my mistake. Okay, in details. Here in every cycle the solenoid is switched on first and pure reactionless thrust is noticed. When the solenoids are switched on, a reactionless thrust is noticed, but when the solenoids are switched off, with the help of rubber band the try to rotors try to reach on their original position for next cycle to happen. They move slightly backward, slightly. In some stroke it's not noticeable, but when the stroke is slow, when it's switched on and taking some switched on and off, when it is switched off and when the on after being off, when the on takes some time, then slightly backward movement is noticed, but it's not that remarkable in comparative to the front thrust. And let's analyze this movement in more details. While returning to the original position of the rotors, the backward thrust is noticed in some stroke, especially in the long cycle of stroke. If you play the video in slow motion, you will notice that the every time the solenoid is switched off, the cart moves slightly backward. But does this make this DUI yet another failed reactionless propulsion system that works depending upon friction with the ground and works only in the presence of gravity? And I have seen more than, I don't have even count, more than dozens, several dozens of reactionless drive which are works on one direction forward, and while returning, and in the second part the cart is pushed back because the backward thrust is also generated, and it keeps on moving in a single position forward and backward, and but doesn't have any net thrust. But is this this our DUI drive system is the same one, and we'd like to analyze it in the details. In most of the previously failed reactionless propulsion claims, the first half of the cycle is fast and it overcomes the friction with ground and moves forward, but second half the cycle is slow, so doesn't overcome the friction with the ground and no backward thrust is observed. Although it doesn't have forward and backward thrust is not observed because the second half of the cycle is slow, and which is not observed due to the friction. You can just, if you are in this field, you know this. If you are interested in reactionless drive, you know this very clearly. Such system works on the ground but fail to pass tests like pendulum test. I think pendulum test is the most basic test of NASA. No one has passed. And let's move to the next slide. No, it's totally different than previous reactionless propulsion claims because of many reasons, and this one is different because of many reasons. First of all, there is no requirement of returning back to its original position, and it can continue for next cycle starting from the half in of previous cycle. Here I have used rubber band and used only two acting solenoids to reduce the mass. If we use many solenoids or electromagnets in a single, that will make the system heavy and will not work, because at a time only two solenoids will be working, so the power of two solenoids won't be enough to move the whole system. So I have used only two solenoids, and to regain, to make that solenoids act again and again, I have to bring it back in the original position with the help of rubber band. So extra thrust has been seen in that, extra backward thrust had been seen only in that case. But originally, when the solenoids are switched on, the forward motion is detected and it's pure reactionless, and it doesn't have any um, backward movement, and it could be observed anywhere. And it has, in my previous video you can see it has gone above the ground too. Not only in the presence of gravity, it can do work anywhere. There is a real theoretical explanation of what's happening here in each step, and everything will be explained with conventional physics. I have not uh, made power presentation of detailed physics, although I have in my second video, I think I have presented everything required to about the DUI theory, but I have not explained in much detail. I will make a next video about the physics, how reactionless drive is explained with help of conventional physics, and this could be explained with conventional physics. I will try to do it in my next video. And the rebound is very small and only noticed in long cycle and occurs only when the rubber band is used. Yes, if rubber band is not used and for the second cycle another solenoid is used for the second cycle, there will be no backward thrust. So it's totally different from the previous one, and the rebound is small one. It's not remarkable, and I want to show you another video too. In this one you'll be surprised to see, even in the even after the solenoid is switched off, is the if there is enough power in the rubber band to bring the rotor in the its original position, then also it will make forward thrust. Okay, let's see the next video. Okay, it's done slowly in the first half. When switched on, this one moves up, and if you notice slightly, when the solenoid is released, also it will generate forward thrust. Even at the time when the solenoid is released, it also gains forward thrust if it is powerful enough. And after 25 seconds, let's see, it's more powerful, because before, if we switch on the solenoid before it reaches the original position, and in the position of while gaining the its position, original position, it's in angular velocity, then it will gain more thrust. After 25 seconds you can visualize it. You can replay this video. The first part is till 25 seconds, and later on after 25 seconds it's the second part. There the cycle is very slow and there is no backward thrust. The previous video could be divided into two parts. In first 25 seconds, the stroke is taken in long interval of time. It's comparatively long. If you play the video slowly, you will notice while returning of the rotors to the original position, a net thrust is generated in forward direction. After 25 seconds, the stroke is taken in short interval of time. It's so short that the rotors do not get time to reach to the original position and start next cycle before the previous cycle ends completely. In this case also, more forward thrust is seen to be generated when the next cycle is started by switching on the solenoids before the previous second half cycle comes to an end. Yes, I just mean to say that it's not yet another reactionless drive, which depends upon the friction of friction created due to gravity. It can go anywhere. Conclusions: if the solenoids are switched on at the time the rotors are in motion, rather than the rotors come to stop after reaching their original position, returning to their original position, more forward thrust is generated. Yes, switch on the if we switch on the solenoids before it reaches to its original position and it is in motion, then more forward thrust is generated. There is no room for any backward thrust if we switch, do it very fast. For that, automation is needed, which I do not have that system right now. And net forward thrust is observed even after the solenoid are switched off and the rotor reaches to the original position with remarkable force. If the rubber bands are powerful enough and the solenoids are powerful enough, so that the solenoids uses huge power to stretch the rubber band, and the stretched rubber band releases huge force to the rotors, then also forward thrust is seen. So there is no any way of backward thrust seen if we good machining, if we use good powerful system, then that's not a problem at all. Final conclusion: the forward thrust generated by the system without use of rubber band is organic and have no reaction at all. Yes, that could be seen. This proves that this is not a conventional reactionless drive claim, but is the different one, and it works. Yes, I will make another video explaining the basics of physics, so that you don't have any doubt in the physics, and it could be explained with traditionally. There is no doubt that, and you won't have any doubt. Sorry, my mother tongue is not English, so I have little problem in English, but I just want to explain this one rather than English. See you in the next presentation. If you have any queries, please write an email for me, or if you want to have do any partnership with this and promote this DUI drive and go to space, most probably in Venus for the diamond, you can email me. Okay, thank you.